Could your portfolio benefit from BlackRock's upcoming Bitcoin ETF decision? How will an ETF approval impact your Bitcoin holdings and the market at large? What do Bitcoin's long-term growth prospects mean for your financial future? Take the crypto red pill and dive deep into the rabbit hole. The potential approval of a Bitcoin ETF by BlackRock is generating excitement and speculation about how it could impact Bitcoin's price. With BlackRock being the world's largest asset manager, the inflows into a Bitcoin ETF could be significant. Crypto experts have differing views on how much an approved ETF could boost Bitcoin's price in the short and long term. To understand where Bitcoin's price may go after an ETF approval, it helps to examine what drove the massive gains in previous years. Crypto investor Anthony Pompliano points out that after bottoming around $3,000 in 2018 to 2019, Bitcoin surged 23x to over $69,000 by late 2021.
I mean, look, to understand really where Bitcoin is right now, you got to go back to 2018, 2019. Bitcoin had been up to 20,000 in the bull market. It drew all the way down to $3,000. What happened there, and Stanley Druckenmiller said it was the thing that convinced him to go buy Bitcoin, is that none of the Bitcoiners really sold. About 80% of the people who owned it at 20,000 still owned it
still
at 3,000.
56% long term right now, so there's no supply for it either.
It's highly illiquid. 76% hasn't been sold in the last year. 56% hasn't been sold in the last 2 years.
2 years, yeah.
And really what we saw, what drove Bitcoin's price from that $3,000 bottom to $69,000, I mean 23x in about 3 years, is that there was a supply and a demand shock. And we had printing of money, low interest rates, and we also got the halving.
He cites the main factors as the Bitcoin halving: reducing new supply, a loose monetary policy like quantitative easing, and a lack of selling from long-term Bitcoin holders. With 80% still holding from the $20K peak and 56% holding long-term, there is scarce supply available. Pompliano argues the macroeconomic environment could drive another surge in demand for Bitcoin as a hedge against inflation. With over $30 trillion in national debt, proxy wars, straining budgets, and other issues, the Fed may have no choice but to return to loose monetary policy and quantitative easing. If so, Pompliano believes it's likely to coincide with the next Bitcoin halving in 2024, sparking dramatic gains. If the BlackRock Bitcoin ETF is approved, how high could the price go in the short term? Crypto investment firm Galaxy Digital estimates that $14 billion could flow into the ETF in the first year. They predict this demand could boost Bitcoin's price by 75%. Analyst firm Matrixport forecasts a more conservative rise to between $42,000, $56,000 if inflows reach $2 to $4 billion after an ETF approval. Pompliano cautions the approval itself may be a sell the news event if it's already priced in. A short surge of excitement could be followed by a pullback. However, sustained ETF inflows over the coming year could steadily push Bitcoin higher. With major asset managers like BlackRock poised to market the ETF, multi-billion-dollar inflows seem realistic. While short-term traders try to time the dips and peaks around news events, long-term investors have a much more bullish outlook. Alexis Ohanian, co-founder of Reddit, views Bitcoin like digital gold, a scarce digital asset that's building monetary value over time as more people recognize its utility.
You know, to me, Bitcoin has never felt really all that different from gold. You know, if you explained to me that gold was a really important part of human culture, I'd understand it. As an Armenian, I know, I for whatever reason, just love gold. We have a cultural affinity for this shiny piece of metal, the shiny rock. And it's been built over years and years and years. And there are plenty of investors who won't touch it because they feel like it's not a great asset. But there's a whole heck of a lot of people who have a strong cultural affinity for it. And I think Bitcoin is in a similar camp. Maybe it's a different generation. Maybe it's more sort of technology-oriented folks.
With a 10-plus year investment horizon, Ohanian sees Bitcoin's long-term adoption curve still early. The cryptocurrency market is known for its volatility around major announcements like the impending Blackrock ETF. While the ETF approval may already be priced in and cause a sell the news dip, the potential inflows over the coming year could propel Bitcoin to new highs. For long-term investors, the big picture remains a steadily growing adoption of Bitcoin as digital gold. Regardless of short-term swings around the ETF, Bitcoin's long-term prospects look increasingly bright.